Hey everybody, welcome. I have got a fun one today. This is question and answers, actually part 3 of questions and answers. And yes, I am down here in the Villages. That's why you see the background you have instead of my gallery. But I also have some fun stuff with people that I've met down here. Let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, that's right. I am down here in the Villages. I even got a little bit of my pickleball tan going, and I am Rusty Nelson, in case you don't know. So please do me that big favor and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. And also, it really helps out if you just take a second and smash that like button. If you do subscribe, go ahead and ring the bell. That way you'll get notified. I surely appreciate it. So let's get started on this. What we're going to do today is answer some of the questions that people had in the comments. And also, I started to do something kind of fun. As I met people down here in the Villages, I kind of took some pictures and told them that I introduced them. And they stop me every time I go out, and it's so much fun. So some people say they recognize me because of the blue glasses or whatever. But let's go ahead and get started on these questions. And as we run through them, I'll go ahead and flick up there people that I've met. Here goes the first question. First out of the chute, Valerie writes, my friend wants to drive from New York City. We are thinking about a lifestyle visit. How is the drive? Do you go nonstop when you drive? I like flying better because it will be a short visit. The Villages is a long trip from Orlando. Any advice? Thanks. Well, first of all, if you think Orlando to the Villages is a long trip, that you're probably talking, I drive from Philadelphia, that's 15 hours. When I stop in Savannah, and then I go the rest of the way, 4 hours or something like that, down to the Villages. One thing, if you are going to drive, plan your trip out from wherever you're coming from, so that when you leave your area, now I leave at about 11, that gets me through Philly, Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, and any area I have to worry about traffic and shoots me down the other end. So I really don't hit that much traffic, or you may want to drive at night. I am a guide during the summer. I guide people tornado chasing, so I'm used to long drives, sometimes 15, 16, 17 hours in a day. And it really depends on what your tolerances are and how much trip you have, how much time you have. And speaking of time, if you can swing a week, I would definitely stay a week here for the lifestyle, simply because there's so much information. 3-day trip down here is you're going to be force-fed a bunch of information, or trying to learn a bunch of information is just not going to be long enough. There is also a shuttle service. I tried to do an interview with them, but I never heard back after contacting them. The airport shuttle service, it says the only direct airport shuttle service, Workman, and you can probably look them up, but anyway, there is their card. So that's about it, Valerie. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is a long trip, and there's not a whole lot to do on the way unless you kind of veer off to do different things. You can make it a month-long trip getting here if you wanted to. Anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. Check into it. You can also rent a car. That's another thing. But you can definitely do a lifestyle visit up here without having a car, no doubt. And if you're doing a lifestyle, you also get a golf cart too. So on to the next question. Before I even get started on this, I want to say one thing, and I know you guys have heard me say this before. I do not work for the Villages. I want to make sure this is plain and clear and everybody knows about this. So that's why I keep saying it over and over again. I have nothing to do with the Villages. I am learning this as you do. And along with that, that means that I am not a real estate agent. I don't represent the Villages. And I just am learning this as you do. So it is possible I will make some mistakes, but on this next question, I will try to explain it the best that I have learned it so far, and I really invite anybody that has something to add constructively into the comments so everybody else can learn about it. So here goes. Thomas writes, from reading other articles about the Villages, it is my understanding that the HOA is controlled by the builder-developer. What do you know about this situation, and if true, What do the residents feel about the lack of control over the builder developer having the final say? Thanks. This is my understanding. Let me say up front, there is no HOA at the Villages. Zero. There is none. There is what is called an amenity fee. And at this current time in 2021, I say current time because it will change, it'll inevitably go up a couple of dollars each year. It is $164, and that pays for anything like from the guard shacks, I understand, to the golf courses, to the tennis courts, and so on. Now, here's the thing. The Community Development District, the Villages Community Development District, as long as I got that right, that was created, with my understanding, actually by Disney a long time ago. And he figured out that there was a HOA as a governing body, and there was also like a city government, but there was nothing in between for what he was developing. So they created this CDD, so the Community Development District. It is my understanding there are 13 districts in the Villages. They start up top with 1 and come all the way down to 13. I'm guessing there will probably be a 14 as you get down into the new area below the turnpike somewhere, someday, I don't know, but the last one was 13. Think of it as a government. So what happens is the developer comes in, they have a bond, and that bond pays for all of the development, the land development and everything in the area, roads and everything else. And I'm making this very generalized. When the last house is sold in that area, now there are officials that work for the CDD, not the developer. And they actually control what goes on with that budget and everything else. Now, I made it really simple, but to answer your question, there is no HOA, so there is an amenities fee. And to be honest, right now, I got no complaints. I haven't found anything to bitch about, so to speak. But that is my understanding. You can look, there's a whole Villages Community Development District.org, I think it is, but you can find that on the web and read till your heart's content. I'm sure there's days worth of reading in there. And I would advise you to do that if you're going to buy a property. Once again, I am not a real estate agent. I don't work for the Villages. I don't work for the government. Zero. I'm just trying to learn about this as you do. Let's jump to the next question. And this one we're going to have some fun with. I absolutely love this one. And let me give you a little prep going into this because this was a lot of fun. There's a thing in the Villages, you know, the friendliest town or whatever they say. And so before I came down here, I had heard about this thing that if you're in a golf cart and you pull off to the side and you got a map out or you got your phone out, or with me, it even happened, I was just pulled over to the side taking in the view and somebody stopped and said, "Are you okay?" People ask, "Are you okay? Can I help you out? Do you need to find your way someplace?" And it's really true. It is really true. So the other night, I am leaving here about 8:30 at night. I had gotten done late and I realized I hadn't even eaten yet. So I wanted to run over to the square and get something to eat before places started closing. 8:30 at night, I do the cutoff out of here that cuts through the Eisenhower parking lot. And as I'm driving through, there is nobody in the parking lot except for one golf cart. And I can kind of see somebody looking at a cell phone as I'm driving up. And I thought, okay, I'll pass it along. I kind of know my way around here now. I'll pass it along and help somebody out. I pull up, and as I'm getting ready to pull out pops this head of this woman. And I could tell it just had that look about her like they need help. I pull up next to him, and all of a sudden, she turns around to her husband and then turns back to me like this, and she goes, "Oh my God, it's Rusty." And so we had a good conversation, a lot of fun. I almost missed dinner. But I took a video, and this is the video, so check it out, and then I'll actually read the statement right afterwards. So I was out here, and in typical fashion here in the Villages, when you see somebody on the side of the road looking at their cell phone.
We're lost.
Yeah, you go.
We're lost.
You go, they're
Very
lost.
lost.
And this is Mike and Kelly from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Right? So they were out here in the middle of Eisenhower right? As I was pulling out and getting ready to go down to the Brownwood, and I saw them looking on their cell phone, so I stopped by. And when I pulled up, they go, "Oh my God, that's Rusty!" So anyway,
we subscribed, by the way.
Yeah, they subscribed. We're down here looking at. They came down because they saw one of the videos that I did. But anyway, I thought it would just be really fun to let them say hi to everybody on the. So
Listen to Rusty.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. And then I got some of those other still pictures. Anyway, see you down here. Bye.
Bye.
Like I said, that was a lot of fun. So here's the statement that they wrote back to me afterwards. Mike, the retired plow guy is what he calls himself. Hey, Rusty, if you remember, a couple of days ago, we ran into you, I believe, at the Eisenhower. My wife, Kelly, and I were lost. We sure appreciate you helping us out. And just to let you know, when we were talking, I mentioned we were looking for a used home. But we ended up, in the end, buying a house in St. Catharines. So maybe we'll be neighbors. I'll be looking down there. Just wanted to say thanks again for the help. Hey, Mike and Kelly, glad I can help you. I guess welcome to the Villages. Maybe you'll get to welcome me, and who knows, get in contact with me. I'd like to see how your buying experience went. It'd be kind of fun to talk about it if you're down here. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I will keep putting out pictures of people that I've met because I've had a chance to meet a lot of people. Let's go ahead and go to the next question. On this video that you can see down there, my day at the Villages, I arrived at one of the pickleball courts, and Aurora writes, you arrived solo to the pickleball courts. Is it just a pickup game, or do you pair up with anyone else to play? Not sure of the rules, thanks. It's kind of a strange thing, and it takes a little while to get used to. So this is a generalization, and this is what I've found out so far, is that from 7 to 10 in the morning, all the courts are kind of open. And as you search around, you will find in your area that a certain group of people come out between 7 and 10. Now I'm going to use Eisenhower as an example because I'm very close to there. Eisenhower from 7 to 10 in the morning is open courts. But generally, I would say an intermediate group kind of flows in there. And then from 10 to 12, they'll actually alternate from intermediate to advanced beginner one day, intermediate the next day from 10 to 12, and it'll shift from court to court. Now, just because it says open play, for instance, when I went down to Rohan once on a Friday, when I first got here, there's 18 courts down in Rohan. I went down there and there was nobody there on a Friday. I got there at 8:30, nobody there on 18 courts. So you kind of have to feel your way through. And then generally you'll find that from 10 or 12 on, there'll be groups that reserve courts. And you'll also find that in your neighborhood, if there's courts close to your neighborhood, people will go out at certain times. But when you get there, it's generally a pickup game. So in other words, you kind of stand in line, you wait, and if all the courts are taken up, it's 4 on, 4 off. So you win a game, 4 people come off and 4 people go on. If it's not a full day or the courts aren't all full, it's a kind of a pickup game and it's 2 on, 2 off. Anyway, I hope that answered your question, Aurora. On to the next question. Hey, and maybe you'll take a look at some people I met.
Hi.
Okay, what's your names?
Nancy and Armando.
Nancy and Armando.
From Staten Island, New York.
Staten Island, New York. The two of them were having so much fun when they came up and tapped me on the shoulder. This is Anne Marie and Dan from Boston. She sent him over to come grab me. And there was Mary Ann and Ken. They were from North Carolina, and they were having a blast at one of the restaurants. And there was Scott and Jean out at, I believe it was the Strawberry or the Blueberry Festival or something like that that they have in the square. They were out having a blast. And Bill and Rita, they were actually the first ones that I did this with. She came up all giddy and tapped me on the shoulder. That was a lot of fun. I mean, these people are out there having a lot of fun, and I thank them so much for stopping by. I'm sorry if I misspelled some names or I got some things wrong, but anyway, the important thing is they're out having fun, and even better, I get to meet them, which makes me happy, and they seem to be happy too, having a good time. Anyway, the last one I have here needs to have some explaining. I'm going to read it, so hang in there. Here we go. Rob writes, thanks, but curious why you refuse to say what you paid for your visit. You went out of your way to point out repeatedly that others visiting might experience homes set up differently. Why could you not say what you paid for your visit with that same caveat? Makes one wonder why. If you were not doing this on behalf of the villages, you have no real reason to state the cost. Well, yes, I do, and I will explain it again. I do not work for the villages. I do not get paid by the villages. None of these YouTubers out here get paid by the villages. Let me make that perfectly clear. It is extremely illegal for somebody to have a video up there, get paid, and not disclose someplace on the video or the text, someplace in there, that they are being paid for by an advertiser or subsidized by somebody or receiving something from somebody. So we got that? That's perfectly clear. Now, that doesn't mean that you are correct, that I couldn't state how much I paid for the hotel room. Let me explain why. If you have ever gotten a hotel room, you can literally get a hotel room from time to time, minute to minute, prices change. If you do it on booking.com or something like that, you can go right back in and it changes. So the last thing I want is for people that are watching this to go back in and say, I saw Rusty get this for this much, I want it. I don't want to cause hassles. It's so easy for you to go look up how much it is on that current day. If you're on a lifestyle, it says right down below how much it costs per day at what time of year. If you go get the hotel room, I showed you in there that you may want to go and check to see whether you get certain discounts for age, if you live in the villages, all those types of things, and it will change every second. So once again, folks, I do not get paid by the villages. I am doing this just as a lifestyle visitor on steroids, I guess you could say. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed meeting some of the people that I've met. I hope the questions help you out. Please subscribe, ring the bell so that you get notified. That's really important if you ring that upper bell. And please take just a second to push that you like it. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks again for stopping by. I can't wait to go out and go play some golf today, meet some more people. And if you have any comments or questions, please stick them down below so we can all benefit from them. Thanks a lot and have a great day. And as I always say, I will either see you back here in the video or I will see you out in the villages.